Oh, cool. I can make my video now.
What's going on, everybody? JaangoPops here. This is gonna be a bit more of a rant style video where I'm just kind of spilling out my thoughts, not too worried about cohesion or having things mixed together too well. So if there's a lot of ums, uhs, like stops, stuff like that, I apologize, but this is just gonna be one take. I'm basically just ranting at this point. You probably can't tell this if you don't know me personally, but I'm a pretty creative person. I like to make things. I have a lot of ideas for things. Like it's just fun to me to kind of put certain things together and like see it, like, just see something that I made like actually exist. And as such, I like character creation a lot actually. The problem is, I feel like there's been a very, very, very steep increase in the amount of games that have character creation, and this is especially the case for anime games, which is a good and a bad thing to me at the exact same time because of certain reasons. Before I really get into it, let me start in a case where this does make sense, which is Xenoverse. Xenoverse is a completely original game with the original story that literally ties in your created character, in which case you are a time warrior, I think you're called. Something like that. You're someone that Trunks brings from the past to, or from the future, excuse me, to fight in the past and change things that are happening uh, in the timeline or whatever. I don't remember. It's been so long since I played Universe. Basically, you make a character, and your character is a staple in the story, like a very important part of the story. In that case, it makes sense to have the character creation because the hero that Trunks is bringing into the timeline to fix the timeline is literally the person you're making. So in that instance, it makes complete sense. You're making someone to help save the timeline. That's fine. That's whatever. Where it's weird for me is really Shinobi Striker and Jump Force. Um, I don't know which one I want to start with first because I have a glaring issue with the both of. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna start with Jump Force because my bigger issue is with Shinobi Striker. Jump Force is it's essentially J Stars. It's not called J Stars. It's not J Stars 2, but it's essentially J Stars. It looks exactly like it, pretty much. Better graphics, a lot more freaking particles, but the overall play style and the fact that there's a bunch of J Star characters, it's basically J Stars. So that game, the original J Stars didn't have character creation. You just played as whatever set characters there were from all these different animes and stuff like that. So you didn't need created characters in the first place, but there weren't created characters. And I just want to point out that J Stars came out before Xenoverse, so just keep that in mind. Um, Jump Force came out after Xenoverse, and Xenoverse was very very successful with both games, if I'm not mistaken. And part of that, let's be real, is because of character creation. So it's just weird that they brought a feature over that didn't need to be in the game, that wasn't in the kind of the source material, the original game, the J Stars game, that wasn't in there, and all of a sudden it's in this game, which isn't that bad, but it's just kind of strange that you brought that out of nowhere. What it seems to me is that they saw the success of Xenoverse, connected that success to the fact that there's character creation because, again, let's be real, that's part of the reason that it was so successful. uh, the base game itself had problems, like problems upon problems, but the reason people stuck with it really was because of the created characters, and the fighting, the combat and stuff was good, but people often ignored a lot of those problems because of the character creation. So it seems kind of weird for them to just bring it out of nowhere when the original game that is very similar to Jump Force didn't have that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say they saw Xenoverse's success. They saw the success of Xenoverse 2, and they were just like, forget it. Put character creation in this game too, which is it just like you're using character creation as like a, I don't even know how you would describe that. I'm not gonna say like a cash cow, but you're basically using character creation as a selling point. That's what it is, a selling point for a game. And here's why I can definitely say that, which is my gripe with Shinobi Striker. Now, anybody, please, and I really do mean this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear that when Shinobi Striker was revealed, people were like hella skeptical about it because it was really different. If I'm not mistaken, this is like the first Naruto, sorry, Naruto game that came out after the whole Storm series, and this was just completely different. Like even looking at it now, it's completely different from the Storm series, and people were skeptical about it. People saw the initial gameplay, like besides the trailer, people saw the initial gameplay. They were skeptical about that. They didn't really know how to feel about it. Everybody was basically, there was a pretty large consensus saying it's a Naruto game, so we'll look out for it. But right now, it's whatever. And that's exactly how I felt because it's a Naruto game, so I'll obviously check it out. But it's not what I'm used to. It's something different. So you just gotta wait a minute and see how it's actually looking. And that skepticism was there for a very long time. It wasn't even really negative. It was just justified skepticism because this is the new thing that we haven't really seen before. Um, like the gameplay is a bit similar to Battle of Z in my opinion. I think I said this before, but it's nothing like you've seen in a Naruto game necessarily. Especially not a bigger mainstream one. But all of a sudden, at a certain point in the game's development, character creation was revealed. And I personally saw all of that skepticism and wonder and curiosity about how this game was going to be just disappear, and hype arose. There was just like everyone was ready to see this game, everyone was ready for a beta, everyone was ready to see how this game was going to be. Like all of the hey, this is different, we should wait and see how this is actually going to be, just seemed to disappear the minute that character creation was introduced. And I think that that's a very big problem. Reason being, you're practically ignoring possible problems and possible like differences that may make a game good or bad to you because there is a possibility of making your own character. Like you're and I think Bandai Namco sees this, right? They're seeing how people react to character creation, how like when it comes to anime games, everyone wants to make their own character, see their own character fighting alongside characters they already know and love. It's a very it's a very big thing within the community. So Bandai's like looking towards that and they're making a lot of their games around with that. But the problem with it is in Xenoverse it was cool because it like intertwined with the story. In Shinobi Striker, I don't really think there is a story, and you're just making a ninja, which is fine because it's not like tied into the Naruto story in any way. But it's just it's weird to think about having a Naruto game where you can create a character that happened to come out after Xenoverse and just had all of the skepticism and the like, hey, we should look out for this before making any harsh judgments on it. Just all of that seemed to disappear with the appearance or the announcement rather of character creation. And as a person that loves character creation, it's more of a concern because it's like how much are you willing to allow or how much are you willing to ignore to like have a game that has character creation because again, Xenoverse 1 and 2 had issues, Shinobi Striker had issues, and people did acknowledge those issues, but the problem is there's like the skepticism, the hype, and then we get back to like skepticism or criticism. I guess when you get to like the beta and stuff like that, you get to criticism instead of skepticism. But like allow people allow the announcing of character creation to just completely diverge them from possible problems. And they do acknowledge those problems. Like I said, those problems that may appear do get acknowledged, but no one's just like, oh, cool, character creation. it's like all of a sudden everyone's rushing out to pre-order the game, or is now so ready just to play and see the game, even though a few months ago we were all like, hmm, we don't know about this. Now everyone's like, yep, I want this game after character creation is announced, and it's just like you have to you have to see a game before you can say that you want the game. You can't just say you want the game because there's character creation. And I feel like this isn't really too big of a problem as long as it doesn't take away from the game. Like, as long as making your character isn't the sole purpose, like the sole thing of the game, sole feature, excuse me. Like, it's fine to have character creation as long as it's like blended in well with the game, because from the reaction that you get, it really seems like character creation is going to be everything about the game for people. And if that's the case, you might as well, like, you're not even playing a game, you're just making your own character for whatever it may be. And it's it's a strange thing because it's like it's a good thing, but I feel like it's too much of a good thing at this point, because a lot of these like newer anime games have character creation, and I've only talked about Xenoverse, Shinobi Striker, and Jump Force, but there's more out there. I'm pretty sure Sword Art lets you make your own character. Um, I'm sure there's some other anime games out there that let you make your own character. And the thing about it is, it's just like it seems like it's really used as a selling point for a game instead of a cool feature of a game, which is annoying because it's like you don't even really care about character creation itself. You're just trying to get the word out there, some get people talking about your game, and then have your game like sell a lot or get a lot of pre-orders, whatever it may be, to get the game acknowledged instead of having there be a good game that shows off stuff that people like along with character creation. And I feel like this is a thing on the company's part, but it's also a thing on the fan base's part, because people are really like pushing games that have character creation after character creation is announced, because a lot of people again were skeptical about I think people were even skeptical about Jump Force before character creation was announced, but I definitely remember people being very skeptical about Shinobi Striker before that was announced, before character creation was announced for that. So it just seems like people are kind of ignoring their initial reactions to something because of the announcement of character creation. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. I have no idea. Um, Tell me what you think in the comments below, because I know this is kind of a not super popular, but somewhat of a popular topic that people have talked about before. These are just my thoughts on it. I'd love to hear yours. What I'm basically saying is character creation is not a bad thing. It's actually a very good thing. It's just there's been a lot of this good thing, and it kind of seems like it's being used more as a selling point and a like way to get your game talked about, rather than a feature in the game that's actually like enjoyable. I don't really know how to describe it too well. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. I've been rambling on for long enough. I'm gonna end right here. Tell me in the comments what you guys think about character creation, how you feel about the rise and prominence of it in anime games, and whether or not you agree with me about how it's being handled, how people are reacting to it, and stuff like that. Yeah, be interesting to see how other people feel about this topic. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the video. My name is JaangoPops, and I will see you later. Peace out.